boys of the cage.
We have reached the main event of the evening.
This is Voice of the Cage Radio with the voice of the cage himself, Patrick Stanger.
We're about to tussle.
Fighters, trainers, promoters, events, rumors. If it has to do with MMA, we're talking about it.
Hi, this is Royce Gracie, and you're listening to the Voice of the Cage with Patrick Stanger.
Welcome to Voice of the Cage. I'm Patrick Stanger. On the phone with me right now is MMA legend Chuck Liddell. Chuck, the Iceman Liddell. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you. It's good to hear from you. You know, I'm glad to see that, you're still involved with the UFC since your retirement. But I wanted to ask you, what are your day-to-day duties with the UFC? And, how are you adjusting to this, basically a desk job, right?
Kind of. I travel a lot for them, and I do a lot of different projects, work on different projects for them, so it's not so much a desk job, at least not yet.
You're traveling around. Would you say it's more PR?
Right now, public relations and different projects, whatever they need me for.
So you go out and about and you talk about the UFC, you talk to the public, whatnot, you do these interviews, and but you're not sitting down with Dana White going over contracts for fighters and stuff like that.
No, not that part of it. That's not me yet.
How you adjusting to it? Do you like it?
Yeah. I mean, I like to hear involved in the sport and help them keep both the best sport out there.
You still training?
Yeah, still training, still working out. I still love it. Still love what I do.
I got some questions from the Voice of the Cage fan page. I posted yesterday that I was going to be interviewing you, and a lot of the people chimed in and had questions for you. Obviously, you're well loved, Chuck. Chad Cooper asks, what are your thoughts on what the UFC should do with Strikeforce? And, it seems to be fizzling out a little bit. Obviously, keeping two brands, Strikeforce and UFC, is that a possibility? What are your...
I think that's definitely a possibility. I think they could do what they want with it. It's nice that they'll be able to, I'm sure they're going to be able to move guys back and forth from the two organizations at some point. So it'll just kind of mix everybody together. So, I think it's definitely possible to have two different organizations. It's possible if they decided to somewhere down the road to cut one. I have no inside information on that for you guys, but
okay, this is unofficial. I must admit it's kind of cool when you have a super fight, like you have the champ, Nick Diaz facing off against GSP. You got both champs fighting. It's always an exciting kind of thing to see these two guys come together and do that. But then again, branding would say, you know what? You really want to focus on one brand, not two. So I guess we'll have to see that one evolves. Chad Sowards asks, what was your toughest fight and most rewarding victory?
Toughest fight, pick a loss, but I think that my most rewarding victory was definitely when I beat Randy for the title after, he beat me, so I was avenging the loss and getting the UFC title and after for so long, all in one fight, so that was great.
Glenn Haley asks, out of all of your different martial arts training you've had, which has served as the best foundation for you in your career?
Ooh, that's hard. I mean, the wrestling I did helped, the striking, allowed me to do striking, and same with the jiu-jitsu I did, allowed me to learn that stuff, helped me be comfortable if I do get taken down to get back to my feet, so which allowed me to strike. So I don't know, it's, I think being willing to learn everything and being willing to adapt to different styles has helped me the most.
What about, how do you say Kai Kwan Karate Do? I don't even know how to say it. How do you say it?
Koi Kwan Karate Do.
Thank you.
It helped, yeah, for sure. That was the first striking style. And then it was Kaji Kembo, at Kempo. I was kickboxing. I wrestled and I was kickboxing, and I started doing jiu-jitsu with John Lewis. And it was just being willing to learn and mix all those things together. I think when I first came into MMA, it was everyone was coming in with one style and learning the other two. Where I came in with striking and wrestling, and I just had to learn jiu-jitsu. So I came in with two and was learning one. So I think that's one of the things that gave me an advantage in the beginning.
Yeah, you used to get in a lot of street fights, didn't you, before you actually got into martial arts?
That too, yeah. Did that quite a bit growing up. I mean, I always liked competition of fighting, and I take it where I could get it.
Byron Aldridge asks, in the peak of training, how many hours a day did you spend in the gym, and how much MMA versus strength training do you think is important for today's fighter?
What's that? How much what?
How much MMA versus strength training? You know, like, would you say 70% MMA, 30% strength training, or 50%?
I mean, I'd be probably 75%, 25% strength and conditioning, and I mean, obviously the MMA training is all conditioning too, is wrestling and doing the striking. But you know, I work out 2 or 3 times a day. Depends on the workout, how long it was. It's a lot of quality, more quality than quantity. But we worked out quite a bit. Probably legit working out 3 to 4 hours a day, probably. But I mean, that's going hard. That's not including. Some of these guys up here say, "Oh, we're out 8 hours a day, 7 days a week." And I've trained with them. I know what they work out. If they're counting 8 hours a day, they're talking about driving to the gym, getting ready, hanging out, talking to people before and after. So, but it is a full-time job when you're training for a fight.
Yeah, you know, it's difficult for me to understand. I mean, I train in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and boxing. You know, I take a couple hours on Saturday, and I do a couple of days during the week of jiu-jitsu. And, man, sometimes I just get really sore. Even when I take one strength and conditioning class for 1 hour, and I'm literally worn out for an hour. It's hard to imagine how you guys can go, you know, for 4 or 5 hours at a time every single day. How is that possible?
Well, I break it up into 3. That's, you know, if I'm doing 4 hours in a day, I'm breaking it up into 3 workouts with breaks. And I go, man, you're always just laying around. Yeah, well, you come with me the other 4 hours of my day, and you'll see why I'm laying around. When I'm training for fights, I don't do a whole lot. You know, I sit down a lot. I see a lot of guys play video games, do whatever, but it's just, you know, something settle down and, you know, sit in front of something. I do something, watch TV, whatever. Just something real quiet in between workouts just to let my body rest.
Yep, let your body rest and heal up. Obviously, you got to watch your diet and get lots of sleep too, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Got to eat right.
I think guys are getting more and more, you know, doing that now too. You know, gotten more and more into the diet and lifestyle stuff.
It's like Hoist Gracie was saying the other day. I interviewed him. He was saying, you know, it's not necessarily the mix, who's got the best mixed martial arts anymore. It's who's going to come into the fight in the best shape.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a big thing. You know, if you got a lot of guys, especially at the top of the game, are so comparable in skill. You know, and then it's who can go longer.
Well, let's talk about it. UFC 133 happening Saturday night in Philly. Rashad Evans versus Tito Ortiz. Well, this is going to be an interesting matchup since it is obviously, you know, the second fight. The first one ended in a draw. Phil Davis had an injury, so of course Tito stepped in, was willing to step up and fight Rashad Evans. What are your thoughts on this fight, Chuck?
Well, I mean, Tito's coming off a big win, and he's coming off a fight he thought he should have won with Rashad, so in the past. I think he's going to have some confidence going in. I mean, it's going to be a tough fight for him, though. I mean, I don't think Rashad's going to give him the respect that he did in the past, and I think in the first fight, and I think Rashad's come a long way since then. So, it'll be an interesting fight for a little bit, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, Rashad Evans looks like he's come so far since they fought, I guess, what was it, about 4 years ago, back in 2007. I mean, he has definitely stepped up his game. Just looking at, you know, his physique, I mean, he looks like he's in a better shape. He moves a lot better. You know, his boxing has gotten better.
Yeah, and I think back then, too, he gave him a lot more respect than he needed to. You know, like I think it was a big fight for him, you know, big name.
Well, that's got to be tough stepping in the cage with one of your heroes, man. I couldn't imagine. But a great opportunity nonetheless, you know. Vitor Belfort versus Yoshihiro Akiyama. What are your thoughts on this co-main event?
I always like watching Vitor fight. So Akiyama, I haven't seen fight a lot, but I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a good one. Yeah,
I saw Vitor, you know, when he fought Anderson Silva. I mean, he looked good coming out in that fight. He just took that front kick to the face, and I mean, I think anybody would have fell to that kick, man. I didn't see that coming. Of course, Vitor didn't either.
He got caught, and anybody can get caught when they got it right on the button with a kick like a front kick. And I'm sure he wasn't expecting it. I mean, it's just not something that a lot of people have thrown. I mean, it's an old school karate front kick, but a lot of people don't use them for fighting.
What do you think about Rory McDonald and Mike Pyle? This is an interesting matchup here that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Rory looks like he's going to be a promising fighter.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm excited about that one too.
Well, good deal, man. Well, we're looking forward to it. UFC 133 happening on pay-per-view Saturday night. One quick question for you, Chuck. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Tired and just got back from Australia with the family, and I'm doing good.
Well, good deal, man. Well, it's good to still see you around and talk to you on the phone and, to see your face at the fights and stuff like that. Obviously, much love. You got a lot of fans out there. We appreciate the interview.
Thank you very much.
This is Chris Lieben. You're listening to Voice of the Cage with Patrick Stanger.
This is Carlos Condit, and you're listening to Voice of the Cage with Patrick Stanger.
Hi, here's Vanderlei Silva, and you're listening Voice of the Cage with Patrick Stanger.
Thanks for listening to Voice of the Cage Radio. Email questions, inquiries, and other business to info@voiceofthecage.com. Facebook search Voice of the Cage and like to get the latest Voice of the Cage radio show. To book Patrick Stanger at your next fight promotion, visit voiceofthecage.com.